This is Pastor Carl Brewer, and this is Why We Serve. Matthew 25, verse 31, Jesus says, "But when the Son of Man shall come in all his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all the nations, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd separates sheep from goats. And he'll set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left hand. And then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you took me into your home. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to see me.' Then the righteous will respond and say, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and fed you, or thirsty and gave you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? And when were you sick or in prison and we came to you?' And the king will say, 'Verily I say unto you, as much as you've done it to the least of these, you've even done it to me.'" Every time I read that text, that parable, it scares me. It reminds me that Jesus isn't going to judge us based on do we follow the right doctrines. He's not going to judge us based on are we a part of the right denomination. He's not even going to judge us whether or not we were faithful in going to church every Sabbath. He's going to judge us on whether or not we served the least of these. And his rationale is, he says, every time you see a homeless man on the street, every time you see a teenager who is pregnant, every time you see a prostitute or someone who's considered a part of the low life of society, every time you see someone that others are mistreating in school, every time you see someone that is being picked on at work, every time you see someone in society, you're not looking at them, you're actually seeing Jesus. And Jesus says he will judge us how we treat them, because whatever we do to them, we're doing it to him. Every time I consider this passage, I am reminded that we are called to serve, not to serve just people, but we're called to serve God by serving those people. So every piece of food you give, every dollar you give, all the attention and help you give, you're not giving it to the helpless and hopeless. You're giving it to Jesus. And this is why we serve. The ball's in your court.